Hey fangirls and boys, this is Natalie and you're watching Whole Lotta Love, and today's video is a chatty get ready with me video where I create this look over here, which is like a really super cool like green, coral, just fun, colorful look. So I'll show you how I created this with like a nice cool looking orange wing liner, something a little bit different. So in the video sometimes I really like to go back into my collection to things that I don't use as much, and I feel like I get really inspired doing that, and I just pick out the best of the best as opposed to just what's new. Because sometimes when it's new, it's just kind of limited to what you have in front of you, but when you go into back into your collection, you can pick exactly the colors you want and just really get inspired. So I use the Naughty palette. This is one of my favorite palettes by Kylie Cosmetics. This is what it looks like inside. It's just such a fun, unique take on like a holiday palette. It has the reds and greens in it, but just not your typical reds and greens, and just some fun foiled shades and different things like that. So I use this in the look. This is where I get most of the color on my lids, but I also dip into the You're So Money Baby palette by Kylie Cosmetics. This is her latest palette, and this one is absolutely gorgeous. It has just these amazing metallic pressed glitters in them that are just so unique and so beautiful. So I dip into this palette a little bit as well. And I just talk to you guys a little bit, mostly about like new music and movies and just pop culture stuff that I'm into that's out. So I just talk about that kind of stuff. So anyway, if you are interested in seeing me get all chatty about things that I'm into and seeing how I created this look, then keep on watching. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and get started. I have already done my brows and primed my lids with the NYX Jumbo Eye Pencil in Milk. And I'm going to start by going into the Kylie Cosmetics Naughty eyeshadow palette, and I'm going to kind of create a transition with this warm toned peachy shade called Xmas Kiss right over here. And I'm using my Obsessive Compulsive Cosmetics smaller tapered blending brush to do this. So how are you guys doing? Is there any good music that you guys are into lately? I am really stoked about the new Taylor Swift album and the new Lana Del Rey album. Lover by Taylor Swift is probably my favorite song ever that she's come out with. It's just so good. And that album is a lot of fun. I think there are a couple of songs that didn't need to be on the album. It would have made it better and more concise, because there are 18 songs in the album, so they definitely could have taken off at least 5 songs, and I think it would have made the album stronger. But for the most part, there's a lot of really cool stuff on there, and I'm really impressed with it. I wasn't expecting much because I really didn't like that song, Me, and after a while I've really gotten into You Need to Calm Down. I didn't like that song at first, but I feel like that song, it's just like a really sassy, fun kiss off to haters. I'm gonna go into the shade Emerald over here, which is my favorite shade in this palette. It's just like a matte forest green that's like really, really deep. I wish they would have put a shade like this in the new Norvina Volume 1 eyeshadow palette. I think that would have rounded that palette out for a full color spectrum so much more perfectly. So I'm gonna go into this shade in the Kylie palette, the Naughty palette. I'm gonna put this in my actual crease. The new Lana Del Rey album, Norman fucking Rockwell, which is such a great album title. It's so Lana. It's pretty good. My favorite album by her is Ultraviolence, and I feel like lately, like especially with this new album, it's getting a little more real, a little too real for me, which is kind of lame to say. I mean, I still love it. I love everything she does, but back in the day, it was like this kind of like mystique around her, like the storytelling fantasy aspect to her songs, especially on Born to Die and Ultraviolence. It was like you were reading like a Pulp Fiction novel. And that was something I really liked about her music, and I feel like now it's kind of just going more into like a singer-songwriter, like more true to life, more political kind of thing. And it makes sense for artists of her caliber to be going in that direction, and I'm glad she's, you know, growing. Of course, I don't expect her to put out the same album over and over. That would kind of suck. Like the manufactured, dramatic, cinematic sadness of her older records has been replaced with like an actual sadness where you're like, oh shit. It's cool, but it's just not my favorite anymore. Just fine. I'm using that same OCC smaller tapered blending brush with the green shade. Just going back into Xmas Kiss just to keep that in the look, to continue to blend out above the crease. So that is the shade Emerald all over my crease. I'm gonna go in and do like a half cut crease. I have the Benefit Boing Cakeless Concealer in shade number 1 and a Morphe M421 brush to do this with. I've been definitely doing like a lot of half cut creases lately. I definitely want to kind of do like the spotlight and like halo eyes and stuff. I haven't done those in a while, so honestly I'm like a little bit nervous, especially to do it on camera. And I've just been really digging this look. Or even like a lot of times I don't even want to do a cut crease. Like I just like really like, you know, wetting my brush and just putting the shimmer shade all over and having that like really nice blended kind of look. I'm gonna let that cut crease area dry for a second because I think if I put a shade over it, it's gonna kind of show through and bunch up a little bit because this is a very liquidy concealer. I'm gonna use the brush. This is the Morphe X Jeffree Star. This is the JS10. I absolutely love this brush. I love the detail brushes in this new collection that they launched. I'm gonna go into the shade Saint Nick, which is that hot orangey corally matte shade in this palette. And I'm just gonna put that where I cut the crease. I feel like my last 3 videos I've done something red or orange or coral in the inner part of my lid, matte. I guess I'm just really liking that look. I have on my Instagram, which I'll put on the screen, I have a bunch of different types of looks. This is just something I've been liking to do lately. One thing I've noticed is that Kylie Cosmetics puts a lot of pressed pigments in their palettes. I'm not really sure if they like reference that, you know, when they're selling and describing the product on their website and different things like that. But I guess that's a little, can throw people off a little bit. I mean, this one, it's kind of like that Norvina red shade that I worked with. It has like a lot of fallout. I should be able to clean that up, but it's just been a little tricky to work with. Definitely picking up nicely over that concealer. It's pretty true to color. I don't know if I've really used this shade from this palette in the look too much yet, so that's cool. So this is looking like a hot mess, but I'm gonna keep working it and I think it'll look pretty cool by the end of this. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into this Lime Crime Diamond Dew, and this is in the shade Tinsel. You know, it is September, it's not even actually officially fall yet, but I am, I guess, living for these Christmas products that I've had. Sometimes I like to go back to the vault and, you know, kind of use products that I don't get a lot of use out of and just have fun with the makeup that I have. So this is a Christmas palette that I think was from their holiday collection, I believe last year, but I could be wrong, could have been 2 years. I think it was last year. But this is just like a green, foresty green, sparkly kind of shade. I'm just gonna, you see kind of where there's like that bald spot where I cut the crease at the end of the cut crease over here. Maybe first, actually, I will go back into Emerald and just kind of fill that in a little bit more. So I'm just building up that color in that spot where the cut crease ends between the coral shade and the green shade, and blending that out a little bit, making sure it's a little bit, you know, buffed out, not so stark. So now I'm gonna take the Lime Crime Diamond Dew in the shade Tinsel. I'm just gonna put this on my finger right there. And I'm just gonna pat this kind of in that area. And that same area where I just built up color. Just want like a little something different, a little hint of a sparkle there. I think that looks pretty cool. So yeah, what shows has everybody been into? I been rewatching the original Hills. That was like a real favorite of mine when I was in my 20s and coming of age. It's just like this fantasy land of California. It's really like funny to watch it now because they're so young. I was like a little closer to their age when it first came out, but now I'm like a lot older and I've seen it already. And it's just a funny show. So much drama for no reason, so much immaturity. But I love that show, and I've been watching the new version too, The Hills New Beginnings, and that one's fun. Not my favorite reality show, but I hope they do another season. I definitely am enjoying it. And I really don't hate Spencer as much as I did when I first watched it, especially knowing that they've been able to like make the marriage work, him and Heidi over the years, and just kind of seeing certain things like, you know, from a more mature stance. I mean, he did act very immaturely in the original series, but I think whereas we didn't put any of the blame on Lauren Lauren Conrad, I kind of see where she was acting pretty immature in the whole situation as well. And I think him and, at the time, I guess him and Heidi, Spencer and Heidi, had a very like codependent relationship, which isn't super healthy, but what can you do? That's life. Yes, I'm really liking this green glitter over top in this spot. I think it's really matching the matte green that I used, the emerald from the Kylie palette. And I find these ones from their holiday collection, they were a lot more colorful, the Lime Crime Diamond Dews, but they were also, the glitters were a lot smaller. Like these are more like traditional liquid glitter eyeshadows. Their original Diamond Dews are really sick though. They have like different size glitters and like different color glitters, and just, it's like a very unique liquid eyeshadow product. Probably one of my favorites. But for this look, I think I like this because it's a little more subtle. And just such a pretty green shade. I'm just gonna take what I have left over on the JS10 brush from that coral shade and just like work that in a little bit into the glitter just to blend a little bit more. Not putting any more product. Just another really good show is Succession. That show is hilarious. Kieran Culkin's character in that, super hilarious. That show is really ridiculous. It's like a more serious hour-long version of Arrested Development, but still pretty funny and pretty ridiculous. It's very, very good. I didn't even know that show existed until they started showing commercials for the second season. I was like, what is this amazing looking show? Just very, very fun. So I'm gonna create a wing using this Makeup Forever Aqua SL color paint, and this is in the shade M70. This is just like a orangey shade. Yeah, it's like more orange. It's not really too coral. Not exactly the same tone as what I have on my lid, but I think it'll work well. And I'm using the same, I don't really like using angled liners to do my liner. I feel like I mess them up, but for some reason I can do them better with a small flat concealer brush. This again is the Morphe M421, so I'm gonna do the liner with this. Wow, that is like actually pretty much the same shade as what I have on my lid, so that's cool. So that is the liner done. This one is a little bit higher than this one, but I have never claimed to be an expert on doing wing liner. I'm actually pretty bad at it after all this time. I have a lot of red liner and shadow everywhere in this look, but we'll clean it out. So for the inner corner, I'm gonna take my Morphe X Jeffree Star. This is the JS13 brush. This is just like a pencil brush. And I'm gonna go into the Kylie Cosmetics. This is the You're So Money Baby. This was her birthday palette for this year. I wanted to do a dedicated video to this palette, and I might still do it. I just tried it for the first time yesterday, and I really like this palette. It has a lot of amazing glittery shades in it, like this formula, like this shade in particular, Time for Cake and 22 Candles. I'll put a picture up of a look that I did with this palette. These are like, it's like a really unique formula. It's like a pressed glitter metallic shadow hybrid. I would say it's more of like an actual metallic shadow, but like looking at this, I put a glitter glue on because I honestly thought it was a pressed glitter because it just looks so, it looks like pressed glitter, but these are metallic shadows and they're really, really stunning. Especially if you use them over a pressed glitter. They can kind of be sheer if you don't do that. But when you put the glitter glue under top, it just looks so beautifully textured and sparkly and really awesome. But it also has that metallicness to it, so they really kind of build up like to a full opacity. That's really pretty. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into the shade for the inner color called Balling Bay. It's kind of like a bronzy gold shade. Again, one of those really sweet glitters. And they're very loosely packed in the pan. I'm gonna wet my brush with the Evian Bal Monsieur. These don't work as well with the wetting the brush, I find. I know there was one in her summer palette that I tried to use like that, and it was a little bit tough to work with. I just want a kiss of color here. Well, that looks a little bit more pigmented than I expected. It's Labor Day and it's like pouring outside. Like, it's such a bummer. Like, it's supposed to be like a nice day, like the last official, like unofficial day of summer where you have barbecues, you hang out outside. It's like disgusting weather outside. Hopefully it'll stop pouring by the time we go to our barbecue in a couple hours. I want Kylie Cosmetics to come out with singles and like rainbow array of shades of this like pressed metallic glitter formula. It's like, honestly, I think it's a very unique, amazing formula. Kudos to her. It's like really, really sick product that she's coming out with lately. Okay, so this is what we're working with so far. Again, it's extremely messy, but I'm hoping I can clean it up with concealer and all that good stuff in just a bit. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go into my Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On Eye Pencil. This is in the shade Mildew. I'm gonna put this on my waterline. I'm going to conceal under my eyes and hopefully clean up some of this mess again with the Benefit Buoyant Concealer in the shade number 1. I'm going to blend that with my Juno Microfiber Velvet Sponge. It's such a tongue twister. Juno Microfiber Juno Microfiber Velvet Sponge. I think I want to try a different shade in this concealer. I feel like this one's too light. It looks very similar in a way to the Urban Decay Naked Skin, but I think it's more pigmented and it's probably just a tad bit lighter. It's a little lighter than I like. I usually don't mind the brightening, but this is like really intense. Process, Jesus. So this is what we're working with so far. I think it looks pretty cool actually. I am gonna go back into the You're So Money Baby palette to do the lower lash line, and taking the same pencil brush, the Morphe and Jeffree Star JS13. I'm gonna go into the shade Stacks. How would we describe this? It's like an olivey taupey matte green kind of shade. I'm just gonna work this onto the lower lash line. I really like this pencil brush. It's not tapered, but it's nice because it's kind of like a pencil brush that also is a little bit better at blending than a normal pencil brush would be. Like you can kind of get that precision, but it also blends. I'm really a fan of some of these smaller brushes in this collection. Morphe and Jeffree Star, especially these two brushes are my favorite, I think. This is again I think this is the 10, right? Yeah, Jade's 10. I wasn't sure if these different tones of green would work together, but I'm loving it. I'm gonna finish off the eyes using the Too Faced Damn Girl Mascara. So this is the eyes done. I'm really loving how they look. It's just such a cool, unique, fun grouping of shades. I think I got really creative here. I'm really digging it. And that little glitter on the outside, I haven't tried that before, but I really like that. Just like a little bit of dabbing of glitter. I think I got the tones right and nothing really lifted. Everything kind of looks nice and saturated with color. I'm really happy with this. Is anybody really excited about that new Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix? That movie looks so good. He is the best actor. It's gonna be a super fun movie. Me and my husband only go to the movies when like the best of the best movies come out at this point, because there's so many things you could watch like on Netflix or, you know, like DVD or, you know, Amazon Prime, TV, whatever. We have like a nice big flat screen TV, so I think we're like most people, but yeah, going to the movies is like a real special occasion. It's like when a real sick movie comes out, we go. And the last movie we went to see was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which was fucking awesome. It was I think it's my favorite Quentin Tarantino movie of all time. I actually read an article and they ranked all of his movies, and they ranked that one as number 2 because it's great. It's so good. It's like a lot funnier than a lot of his movies are. Just really, really good. So I'm using the Maybelline. This is the Dream BB Fresh cream. So it's a BB cream and it's in the shade 110 light medium sheer tint. So this is like my preferred coverage. It's like, especially using the Juno sponge, it deposits it with like a really nice level of pigmentation. It's like foundation almost. It's not as sheer as if you were to like just, you know, rub it in with your fingers. But I love this product. Just because it's like a little bit lighter, it's like nice and dewy. Doesn't really age my skin, it doesn't really settle too much. It's just so nice. I mean, definitely want to be able to deal with a lighter coverage. I feel like my skin's looking pretty red. I probably, like my sponge is red. I think it's because of all the red eyeshadow, but I guess we're just going for that look today. It's a little bit of like a end of summer suntan-y kind of look, I guess. I'm gonna set my T-zone area. I'm gonna use, as always, my Hourglass Ambient Lighting palette. I'm gonna start with the shade Incandescent Light, the lightest shade in the middle, to set under my eyes. I'm gonna use the other two shades, which are Dim Light and Radiant Light, go between those two. Set my T-zone. For blush, I'm going to use the Tarte Amazonian Clay 12-Hour Blush in the shade Sensual. And I'm using my Cossetti. This is an S130 brush. These blushes are so nice. They're so like sheer but buildable. So what new makeup releases is everybody excited about? I'm really excited about there's a Tarte collection. Tarte. It's like a fall collection. Like they have like a fall feels eyeshadow palette. They have some really nice glosses, a really nice looking chrome paint pot, like a rose gold shade. I'm like here for the fall look. It's a little bit cheesy, but I'm a little bit cheesy and I'm a little bit, you know, I act a little bit younger than I am. I actually ordered and I'm waiting to get the Sugar Rush palette that came out. It's called Goals, Goals, Goals. I'm like, have high hopes for that one. I don't know if it's gonna be very good, but it just has like, I think it's like 35 shades. Like it has like a warm tone side and a cool tone side. It looks really, really good. The Melt Radioactive palette looks cool, even though it looks like the first like 4 shades in that match are very similar to what they did with the Radioactive stack. I wish they would have done something a little bit different. Melt is notorious for kind of doing the same thing over and over, which is a little bit annoying because when they do bring out something new, it's really incredible. The Kat Von D foundation I'm excited about because I didn't like her first foundation because it's too heavy. It was very cakey, very heavy on the skin. The only full coverage foundation I really like is the Huda Beauty one. That one's like really full coverage, but like really smooth and really beautiful on the skin. But the Kat Von D one was too heavy for me. So I'm excited to try her newer one, which is just gonna be like a medium coverage, kind of lighter deal in the bottle. Looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm gonna go in with the Flex highlighter by Milk Makeup. This is in the shade Lit. I think this is like my favorite highlighter of all time. And I wanna get all the shades. And I'm using the Fenty highlighting brush in 120. There's a new ColourPop palette that looks really good too. It has like pressed glitters in it. I think it's gonna be an Ulta exclusive. I definitely am gonna get that one as well when that one drops. And Pat McGrath looks amazing, but that's like $125 and that's crazy, but I want that one too, of course. That purple shade looks nuts. So highlighter is on. I'm gonna finish with lips. I have the Kat Von D. This is the Everlasting Liquid Lipstick in the shade Malice. I am going to set my face with the Morphe Continuous Setting Mist. This stuff is so good. So this is the completed look. I am obsessed with how this came out. I feel like I really kind of got really inspired, and I was thinking of doing a solo review kind of video on the You're So Money palette, but I'm happy I just went with what I really wanted to do, which was mix the Naughty palette with the You're So Money. And I think that that looks really, really cool with the, you know, orangey liner and the lip matches. I'm loving it. I'm very happy. The Lime Crime Glitter. Yeah, so I'm very proud of myself. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed getting ready with me and hanging out with me and hearing about some of the pop culture things that I'm into lately. That completes this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and have a good one. Bye, guys.